Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Helmet to Helmet. I'm Mason.
And this is Ian.
And we are about to cover you some draft.
Pre-draft
coverage. So, in case you haven't heard, the NFL draft is coming up in April. I want to say it's the last weekend of April.
I think you're correct.
And so we are going to take a deep dive and look at some team needs for each team, going in order of their draft order.
We're not predicting any trades until closer to time, but this is just your normal, what it's going to be.
Yeah, and I have compiled a mock draft that we'll be able to, I'll go through and kind of give you who I'm breaking down to go places. But the majority of this segment will be us talking about the team needs that we see, who we think needs to go where, what these people are missing, and why. So let's start with the worst team in the NFL. Drum roll, please. The Arizona Cardinals.
Congratulations. You did it.
Good job, Arizona. You get the number 1 overall pick this year. You went an abysmal 3-13 for a winning percentage of .188.
And you're ruining poor Larry Legend's career.
On the bright side, you had a better away record than you did a home record. So, sucks to be a Cardinals fan. They won 1 game at home this year.
Ew.
All right.
Ugh.
What do you have the Cardinals needing this offseason, Ian?
Honestly, they are in a lot of need. They could use a lot of things, but mainly I think it's going to be defensive end or O-line. Really anywhere on that O-line because he never had a chance to throw. Never. Rosen did not have a shot.
Yeah, offensive line's definitely a big need. My biggest needs for them, they need a pass rusher and defensive line help. Because when you're a bad team, to start becoming a positive team and making a difference, especially in fourth quarter and clutch situations, you need to be able to rush the opponent's passer. If the other team is able to sit back and pick you apart, any quarterback, Blake Bortles, if he has time, can make accurate passes.
He should be.
Blake freaking Bortles took the Jaguars to an AFC championship.
It was a different time.
Is Blake Bortles more elite than Joe Flacco? We'll talk about that next. No, wait. And I also have the Cardinals needing a wide receiver. Yes, Larry Fitzgerald is coming back, but for who knows how long. This man is a gem. We need to cherish him while he's around.
Not going to be much longer. We say that every year, but not going to be much longer.
After him, their next best receiver is Christian Kirk. Go ahead and get a receiver in there. Yeah. He came on late last year, but he doesn't look like number 1 receiver material right now.
We also have to remember, this is the number 1 pick of the draft. This is best talent available, and I think we're both in agreement here when we say Nick Bosa, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In my mock draft, I have Nick Bosa going to the Cardinals.
First overall.
Pass rusher out of Ohio State. And when I did this draft, I did pass rushers and defensive line as separate. So pass rusher kind of includes 3-4 outside linebackers like a Justin Houston.
Yeah, and they could use him in almost either system, like his brother. They're very versatile if they need to be.
He's more of a defensive end when you really look at him, but he knows how to rush the passer, and that's what he's going to be used as. I don't think there's any debate about anyone else who should go to the top. Of course, Josh Allen's been talked about. Quinnen Williams has been talked about, but Nick Bosa is the only one that really fits the system out there in Arizona, and he would be a perfect complement apart from Chandler Jones.
Completely agree there.
So let's look at the second worst team in the league, their division rival, the 49ers, who went so much better than them at 4-12.
Yeah,
wow.
It's just better quarterback play.
The 49ers went 0-8 on the road. Atrocious. Could not win an away game.
But we do have to remember, Jimmy Garoppolo was injured from that ACL tear, and he has more rings than most quarterbacks in the league.
Jerick McKinnon was injured. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a bad take. I don't like that.
But it's true.
I don't like that.
Backups win rings.
The 49ers went 4-4 at home this year, so that's not atrocious.
But it's definitely 50.
Right? So what do you have the 49ers needing?
I do believe that they need help on defense over anything, because still, as the offense was running with Nick Mullins in there, he had some good games, and that's just Kyle Shenanigans being himself. Yes, it's Shenanigans when he's with me.
It's Kyle Shenanigans, of course.
That's what he pulls.
He played some Shenanigans in Super Bowl 51.
Oh, don't. No. Okay. But they need defense, and they need defense badly. I'm thinking anywhere on the defensive line would be helpful, and then if they really wanted a Nick Bosa and he somehow fell from one spot, but either defensive line or cornerback help, because I know their cornerbacks are all just there. No one's really getting picks or doing anything that great. So I'm going D-line.
Yeah, and I have defensive line, safety, and cornerback because the whole 49ers defense does need help, like you were talking about. Defensive line, you have to have a pass rusher. Safety and cornerbacks, they just look bad. And as far as getting offensive pieces, not only was Jimmy Garoppolo injured, but so was Jerick McKinnon, the little running back that they signed. And I don't necessarily think that he can be a number one running back. That's me. But at the same time, we don't know.
We haven't seen him play a full season.
Exactly.
As a starter.
You'll notice I listed a bunch of defensive positions but didn't list linebacker. That's because currently linebacker Fred Warner for the 49ers was 12th in the NFL with 124 tackles.
Solid player.
He looked okay, at least, you know.
He's not
6
a
pass deflections.
Yeah, he's not a position that you're going to get rid of because you're like, you pass the eye test and you're better than majority of people in your position currently. There's no reason to get rid of you.
It's someone who did enough that he doesn't need to be replaced yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You at least give him another year to see and kind of flesh out. And if that becomes another weakness, then maybe you consider replacing him. So we both agree they don't really need anything on the offense.
No.
Defensively, they need a little bit of everything.
A little bit of anything could help them.
I've got them taking Quinnen Williams, the defensive lineman out of Alabama. Big, physical defensive tackle. He can rush the passer. He can stuff the run. He would be a good piece to start rebuilding this defense that looks...
Yeah, Quinnen Williams would really make a lot of sense just to help with... When you can shore up the run game or stopping the run game from happening, it will allow the corners and DBs to have a better chance. So I agree with that. Quinnen Williams.
Yeah, and they gave up 435 points this year, which is...
That's not good.
A lot. Just to put that in perspective, the Cardinals gave up 425. So worse defense than the Cardinals. Number 3, the New York Jets. Jets. Atrocious.
That's how you spell it.
And everyone expects the Jets to be down here. They also went 4-12 on the season. There's nothing remarkable to say about them. They went 4-12. I mean, I think this draft is a little interesting because we look at the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Jets. The Raiders are the first team that I think could conceivably take a quarterback. And we haven't had something like this since 2013 when it was Eric Fisher at number 1. We had those 3 left tackles going in the first.
Very weird draft.
I feel like this is going to be a weird year in terms of we won't see a lot of quarterbacks at the top.
Well, because a lot of people don't need quarterbacks because they're already paying their quarterbacks too much.
Exactly. So, what do you have the Jets needing?
The Jets currently, they need a lot, but I think they need to help their offensive side of the ball to help out their young rookie quarterback, Sam Darnold. And I think that begins with O-line play. And I know you don't really want to be the team that takes an O-line 3rd overall, but I think an O-line would really help, and a wide receiver. He doesn't have any weapons to throw to, and that might be the position that they go for this early.
Yeah, their leading receiver, I want to say, was Robbie Anderson this year.
No, I think he was down. I think it was Quincy
That's
Enunwa.
right. Oh my
or
goodness,
however,
that's right, Quincy Enunwa. I completely forgot about him. Yeah,
he's been there forever, and he just always throws up those 700 yards and whatever. It's just
wide receiver's a big weakness, and when you're working with Sam Darnold, you definitely have to have him have protection.
He doesn't have a security blanket.
Yeah. Offensive line is always important for a young quarterback, and I thought about putting that in my needs for the Cardinals with their quarterback in Josh Rosen, but it feels like he needs it less. They need a defense first.
He's gonna get beat up either way. One piece won't help him, but I think one piece could help the Jets.
Yeah. I almost gave the Jets Jonah Williams out of Alabama, but I think the value isn't good enough at the number 3 overall pick. So if they're able to trade down, which I didn't do any trade downs in my mock draft. If they're able to trade down, I think him, Cody Ford out of Oklahoma would be an option. Greg Little out of Ole Miss. Those are really the top tackles, but none of them have top 3 value.
No, none of them would have that value with it, but if you can't get something that you want as that organization, like a trade value piece, then you almost have to take the player that you want that early, even though it might be like, we might not get our return on this, but we at least got the player we wanted.
I can agree with that, but there are also other needs they can fill with premier guys. So, name one pass rusher on the New York Jets roster.
Do they still have Leonard Wilkerson?
I think it's Leonard Williams.
Oh, my bad.
Most of them are gone at this point.
I do remember them trading back in the good old days for the Seahawks for it, and it was weird, but yeah.
So, I've got them taking Josh Allen, the pass rusher out of Kentucky. Not the quarterback, So we're gonna hopefully see two times a year Josh Allen versus
Josh Allen.
the quarterback in Buffalo.
Everyone wants that.
But besides just for the name, the Jets really need a premier pass rusher, and I'm expecting a lot of pass rushers to go early in the draft. This feels like a pass rusher heavy draft that we're looking at. So I've got them taking him because, again, you need to be able to get to the quarterback. And I can't think of anyone relevant on the Jets defense right now.
At a value of third overall, that makes perfect sense for that organization.
This is a guy who could end up being as good as a Von Miller type. He's got explosiveness on the edge. He can bull rush you or he can swim around you. He looks really good. And he's in contention for a lot of people's number 1 overall pick in mock drafts. Next up, the team I thought was the worst this year, honestly, just by watching them. The Oakland Raiders.
Gruden.
John Gruden. Ever since they signed him, I hated that move so much.
I was very pumped in the offseason. Like, Gruden's coming back. I'm hating that we're not going to have him, be an announcer anymore, but he can really make the Raiders, back to the playoff form. And then it's just like, what are you doing?
No, I thought he had been too old for coaching for a while now. It just outdated. 10 years. We're going to get to watch this Raiders organization flop and flounder for 10 years.
No, they probably have an out if they need it. I think they're going to give him 3 years, definitely.
He has part of ownership.
Oh.
He got part of ownership in this deal. He's here for the long haul.
Oh, man. If you're a Raiders fan, this could either be your best thing or the worst thing.
If you're a Raiders fan, move from Las Vegas now.
Where do they play? I don't know.
Who knows? So, yeah, the Raiders actually have 3 first-round picks, which sounds really great until you realize they lost Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper for it. Their first one comes in at number 4. Ian, what do you have them needing?
Well, they need a lot, but they kind of got rid of their best player, which is, Khalil Mack. So I think you need to find a Khalil Mack replacement. And then I don't really know if they want to keep Carr or not, so I'm going to just assume that they are going to keep Carr, so possibly some O-line help on offense, but mainly defensive end or pass rusher.
Yeah, and you really have to start replacing Amari Cooper, who wasn't great in Oakland, but as soon as he's traded now in Dallas, looks like a legitimate number 1 receiver. You have to replace him, and you have to replace Khalil Mack. Those are your needs, but there's no real value, at least for receiver this high. You could talk about, what's his name? The guy out of Arizona, N'Keal Harry. You could talk about A.J. Brown out of Ole Miss. But there's really no one with that high of a value for the Raiders.
This is one of the most defensive drafts I've seen in a while.
That's where all the talent is. I also thought about giving them a running back because Marshawn Lynch is getting older, and you might want to.
Don't they have Doug Martin?
Come on.
Yeah,
okay.
They do have Doug Martin.
They have Doug Martin. Yeah, whoa.
Hey, don't diss former Buccaneers.
Hi, is this 2012? Why is Doug Martin being brought up?
But this team is so old. Really, you could replace almost any piece of that defense.
Yeah. I'm giving them Rashawn Gary, the defensive lineman out of Michigan. He's strong. He's built athletically. He's a good pass rusher and someone. He's not going to be Khalil Mack.
No.
But he's someone that can help start revitalizing your defense because this defense was atrocious last year.
And Rashawn Gary would truly be the center of that defense there at defensive tackle.
They give up 467 points.
That's pretty good.
Okay. That's awful. They only put up 290 as well, which is why they went 4-12. But as I'm scrolling through here, I can't find anyone who gave up more. The Bucks gave up 464, but at least they put up 396.
Yeah, but the Buccaneers aren't until next episode.
Oh, teaser trailer. Buccaneers next episode. So I've got them taking Rashawn Gary. That's 4 straight pass rushers or defensive linemen to start off the draft. And this is including no trade-ups.
Yeah, that's assuming that no one's going to trade.
It's possible Denver trades up to try to get ahead of New York or Jacksonville. New York Giants, of course.
And honestly, think about it. Kyle Shanahan could do the same thing that he did to the Bears at one time. Say like, oh, yeah, we might take quarterback, and then get that trade down. And
yeah, the only thing I think would be different here is they're not going to take someone now they have Jimmy Garoppolo.
True. There's no fear.
And if you want to say, oh, we're going to take your favorite pass rusher, defensive lineman, there's so much talent here. I mean, Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, Josh Allen are all incredibly talented.
Ed Oliver later on, too.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many players.
Yeah, no one's really that bad of a pick here.
No.
So, that is our first 4 picks, what we think each team needs. In the next episode, we're going to go through picks 5 through 8, which are the Buccaneers, the Giants, the Jaguars, and the Lions. We're going to break down exactly what those teams need, and I'm going to tell you who I think goes to each of those teams. I'm Mason.
And this is Ian.
And this is Helmet to Helmet.